Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of What Do You Call It podcast. I'm your host, GB. Today's guest can be seen in the NWA and the Tag Team Spectaculars. Please give up for Rush Freeman. Rush, thank you for not coming on and saying CUNT. Just before we recorded, I was saying try not to say that word, but you might have got confused with me saying do say that word. So that's why I'm kind of giggling before the intro. Sorry.
Got to get them all out early.
But Rush, how you doing today, mate? You all good?
I'm good. You know, on the topic of the CUNT, yes, I've recently become friends with a British girl, a UK girl. I told you about her. Aurora and I have become friends, and you know, she's my first British female friend. It just surprised me how much of a potty mouth that girl has. The things she will say.
It's kind of like you'll hear it quite a lot, and especially like the south of England. We just say it like there's no tomorrow, and as casual as it can be as well. But when you guys say it, it's really like impactful. I've noticed, like you'll hear it like American TV.
Word. Like you cannot say it in the United States. Like you call a girl that is the meanest word you can call a girl.
I prefer hearing Americans say it as opposed to British people saying it. If I'll be honest.
I love hearing you guys say all this stuff. I couldn't understand half the stuff you said on your intro.
That's cool, man. That's cool. I'm going to jump straight into it because it happened recently. It's basically you wrestling at the Chase, a historic venue, 74th anniversary of the NWA. I want to ask from Hugh, how was the experience? How did it feel to be wrestling in that venue?
Man, did you get to watch the show?
I glossed over a lot of it, yeah.
Okay, so I love the Chase. I got to be, I was the very first person to wrestle in the Chase in over 37 years, I believe. Myself and Sam Adonis, who was wrestling with El Rudo in the NWA. We were the first ones to wrestle in the Chase after 37, I believe it's 37 years. That was last year at NWA 73. So the Chase is my favorite building to wrestle in. And, this year in NWA 74, I got to be in it was a tag team battle royal. There's 12 teams in there. It was for the United States Tag Team Championship. That title's been gone for many years, and they were bringing it back. The Fixers ended up winning. It was an over-the-top rope elimination style match. I did great. I had to, put myself over. I did great. I was very pleased with it. I love the match. Didn't win. I really wanted us to win. Myself and Brady and Rolando, we had talked about this match for the past 2 to 3 months now. Like, we were dieting hard. We were working hard in the gym. I literally got so big. I bought these new suits about 2 months ago, and came time to bring them to the show and stuff. I already had them tailored. They didn't fit because I put on so much weight. So I had to buy the suits again, buy them again. But did you get to see Rolando and Matt Cardona?
Yes. Oh, man, I love it. Matt Cardona's still moaning about it now on social
media.
Yes,
he just posted to this guy. Do you see that picture of Rolando at the pool?
Yeah. He's like, did I lose to this guy? I loved it, mate.
Dude, I can't tell you how happy I was seeing my brother beat him.
Yeah.
Like, just so happy.
I want to ask about your brother, but I will jump into the NWA in a bit. But I want to take a step back. I want to discover what actually got you into wrestling in the first place.
Yeah. I grew up in the South in America, and there's NASCAR and there's professional wrestling. So I didn't care about NASCAR, but I loved wrestling. And I got into it in the late '90s. I was obsessed with The Rock, and my mom literally grounded me. She's like, "No, I'm not gonna watch wrestling. It's violent." She probably thought I was gay. Like, I don't know what else she thought, but she wouldn't let me watch it for years. And finally, in 2002, I started watching it again. That was about the time John Cena came in. They had the Smack, and I just got really into it. And she let me watch it.
So just gave up.
Yeah. I used to have a VCR. I had multiple VCRs, and I would record every week. I'd go buy VHSs, and I'd go record the shows, and I'd watch them over and over again. So I'd have like a whole WWE network in my little bookshelf of just VHSs. And I watched wrestling like crazy growing up. Just stayed into it. I loved John Cena. I loved Eddie Guerrero. Chris Benoit. I was a huge Chris Benoit fan. Kurt Angle, Rey Mysterio. I love Rey Mysterio and Ed. And so like all the SmackDown 6 were my guys. And I just really stayed into it. And I didn't getting into wrestling, I always wanted it. I'd always tell people as a kid I want to be professional wrestlers when I grow up, and I get made fun of. You will get made fun of for it, and so I never really pursued it. I kind of messaged people about it in college. I messaged people about it when I was working. And then I heard Ricky Morton on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast one time. I was already done with college. I got my master's degree. I'm working in my regular career job. And I'm like, I don't want to do this forever. I want to chase my dreams, you know? And I started looking at wrestling schools, and I trained with some local yokels. That's what we call them, just the guys who don't really, they never did anything, but they're going to train you. I started training with them. And it wasn't the worst experience, but I definitely wasn't getting properly trained. And I took some time off. I became friends with James Storm. Are you familiar with James Storm?
Yeah.
He went to my gym, and Cowboy. He went to my gym in Spring Hill, Tennessee. And I just mustered up the courage one day. I asked him, man, how do you get into your business? How do you make it happen? He told me, you got to go get trained at a proper school. You got to look the part, and you got to be different. Mm-hmm. And so I grew my mullet, grew the hair out.
I love it. Was it the Kentucky waterfalls? Did you guys call it?
Yeah, the Oklahoma waterfalls. Yeah. I used to just have this. It just used to be a square-headed ugly thing. And so, anyway, I grew my hair out. I started going to school, Tried and True Pro Academy. I trained with Jeremiah Plunkett, who was my partner in the Ill Begotten with the NWA. And I also trained with Tom Latimer. And I moved around a lot. And it's just been it's something different all the time. I've lived in 10 different states in the United States. I trained with 4 different schools now. Could technically be 5 if you want to count a place in Alabama. And every time I try to move somewhere else, it's usually for a shoot job because wrestling isn't paying the bills fully yet. So I'll take these high-paying moving jobs, traveling construction, and I will just get into wrestling training in there. So right now I've been working a lot around Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
But that's awesome though. That would make you very versatile, and also the experience that you're gaining in other states and other schools that can't be taught just by one person. You'll learn it from different people. I see that you also went to the Nightmare Factory as well.
Yeah, I was in Nightmare Factory. I didn't do Cody Rhodes' class. I went with QT. I tried to get in Cody's first class. I had the money and everything, and I wanted in there. And they said they didn't want anyone who had already been trained. So they did actually have a couple of people that had already been kind of trained. But I was, already in an advanced class and doing matches and stuff. So they didn't want me. They told me just get into their night class, their advanced class. So I trained with them. But yeah, I didn't get the fancy Nightmare jacket that I was putting on.
But I mean, that's kind of a compliment. It's like, you're kind of too good for this,
Yeah, kind of. You're like, still, I want, hell, I would already worked all these other promotions, and not that I want to, but it would have changed the trajectory of where I was.
No, that's cool, man. With the training just before Nightmare Factory as well, but just in general, when you were beginning your training, what were some of the biggest challenges that you found in terms of getting into pro wrestling? Would you say like promos, the bumping, the traveling?
So I have a bad neck. It's never been a neck injury. It's just my neck is straight.
Mm-hmm.
So when it bumps, a lot of times I'll get these massive headaches, and I still get them. Just the other night I had one. Doing front rolls, it was usually the rolls and the bumps. Now, doing promos, that's progressively gotten a little better. I'm still not The Rock, but I'm not the worst.
Yeah.
So promos is just I have a speaking job for my construction job. I have to do safety meetings all the time. I have to speak. So like talking to you, I can clearly have a decent conversation. But sometimes if you try to get it across in wrestling promo, get old school with it and talk brother, it doesn't come across as well as you want it to. I botched a promo. I've shit the bed a little bit before, but so really I was fine on form and stuff. It was just like my body hated the rolls. It would give me migraine. Yeah.
But you got used to it. I guess you're still doing it now. Your body's probably come accustomed to it. That promo, by the way, the botch one you just mentioned, do you have access to that? Is that on the internet?
No, they got rid of it. It was the last set of tapings. We were in Knoxville. We had a pay-per-view the night before, and I worked with what's his name, Sam Shaw, Dexter Loomis.
Mm-hmm.
Did great. They just told me to go out, be myself, be goofy, and have fun. So I did. Next night, we were going to introduce my big brother, Rolando, the one who's just recently defeated Matt Cardona.
Yeah.
And we were calling out the world heavyweight champion, Trevor Murdoch. but in doing so, I accidentally called him the national world heavyweight champion. That's 2 different titles. And so it really wasn't just the worst promo. Like, it was a little goofy. It could have been clean it up. But, once you can't call somebody by the wrong championship. You can't call John Cena the Intercontinental Champion.
You will end up on Botchamania.
It's
like that.
Yeah. So anyway, we got through it, did the whole spot, everything. The crowd reaction was great because they got to see my big brother, who's this tall, and they loved it. But then they told us afterwards, like, hey, we're going to shoot this again after the crowd leaves, and we're just going to change it. And so we're like, no, we won't get that same crowd reaction. We did it, and the spot was there, and we did it, but it wasn't the same.
Nah, that's cool. I will talk about your big brother because I love the pair and I think it's fucking quality. But I actually want to talk to you about your debut, your official wrestling debut, because I want to hear how it was and if you had any family there, because I actually tend to get good answers from this now when I ask wrestlers. So I want to hear from you. When did you make your official in-ring debut? How do you think it went? And did you have any family and friends there?
Yeah, this was June 2021. I want to say it was June. I've got it in my phone somewhere. Anyway, I worked with NWA. We just finished our 10th season. I've been with them since season 2. So I've now worked with them for 8 full seasons. In those times, I started off with my truck. I'd go get materials from Home Depot. I'd go buy a table so we can put someone through it. I'd go buy chairs to hit someone with, water to drink, and I'd get catering. And so I was there. I was paying my dues and I was helping out.
Yeah.
I did a very good job. If anyone's listening and they want to be a wrestler one day, pay your dues just like I just described. But anyway, I worked my butt off. Finally, we came back from COVID, and I think this was the first time we've met since we came back from COVID. Second time, excuse me. We came back, and I was in very good shape. And self-presentation is very important. So get a good tan, get your beard cleaned up, get your hair lined up with the barber, look like a star.
Get my fix at the moment.
Yeah, look like you're coming in with purpose. And I'm not going to say that I just impressed him, but Billy and I we knew each other. We didn't talk a lot. I knew to keep my mouth shut. I was the new guy, but he gave me a shot. He said, I walked out of the hotel one night. He said, Crimson, I have an opportunity. We might need to use some of your boys. And it just ended up being me. I just walked in. He thought about it right there, and he said it to Crimson. And they gave me the opportunity. They put me in a triple threat match the next day. It was with Jordan Clearwater and a kid named Papa Jive.
That was your in-ring debut?
That was the in-ring.
I've seen the match. Yeah, I didn't know that was your debut, though. Bloody hell.
Yeah, so I'm typically not a heel. I'm typically a major babyface.
Yeah.
But Jordan Clearwater was a pretty boy babyface. This other guy, Papa Jive, he's clearly just some happy to be there, happy hipster hippie guy. So I'm like, all right, we need a heel. We need a heel in this match. So I'll take it. And I'm wearing all black anyway. Just let me be me. And so I just turned it up, and I did all right. And that was the only time I've really just been a full-on heel in this promotion. But I've worked heel, on the indies a couple of places. But for the most part, of all the matches I've had, I'm 99% of the time I'm the white meat baby face.
No, that's cool, man. I didn't know that was quite sort of early on in your career, that match. I've seen that.
And like you were saying about my parents, my mom was there. She tries to make it to every taping, even before I was working.
That's cute.
So mom got to be there. It was really touching, and she got to take pictures with me before and after, and all this stuff. It was nice. She actually, I told her, Mom, I've got a match. I need you to run to the store and get. I started calling her. Tank top and go get me all this stuff.
Does she probably get into it? Does she become a fan? Like separate herself from being your mum to like get your hands off him?
Yeah, she really gets into it, and she's kind of a mark.
Your mum and Mark.
We're at the Chase, and we're starving. They cater us. They cater us a great lunch every time. It's Chipotle, something healthy. Dinner time is always pizza, and pizza it sticks to us. We try not to eat it, so there'll always be plenty of pizza left. But there's never steak and everything else that they cater. So anyway, me and Brady, my partner, we left and we went to the bar in the restaurant or in the hotel restaurant. We were going to go get some food. My mom's already in there, and she's sitting there hanging out with Ricky Morton, just hanging out, shooting the shit with Ricky Morton because she knows who he is. So she's just a mark.
That's great. I've never ever heard. I've done about 120 episodes nearly, and I've never heard any wrestler call their mum Mark. That's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
That's going in the caption. That is.
This is the same woman that grounded me from
I
watching
was gonna
wrestling.
say 20 years
Yeah.
ago you weren't allowed to watch the damn thing, and now she's like a bigger fan
Yeah.
than you.
The hell, Mom. Of course, that was the Attitude Era. Also, it was the '90s. So I mean, there's
You kind of understand. Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Like it was a little. I can see why you wouldn't watch a kid. I don't think I'd worry about him being gay. I'd worry about him being a pervert.
Honestly, like, I remember watching the Katie Vick angle with my parents. That was the only time they're like, no more.
Yeah,
no more. No, this is just too much. I had to wait like a week or two
Still.
to sneak and watch it back. I was like, I think they've apologized now. They're never going to do it again. And thankfully they haven't. But that was horrific.
When we were kids, that was our excuse. That never happens on here. They never do that kind of stuff.
No, never happens. Like you go to the playground. Did you see what happened? Triple H with the corpse. Like,
yes,
the
corpse.
I wonder if I've still got the VHS for that, mate. That's because you remind me of like VHS, just brings me back memories, like collection of it and just taping over it if you're desperate as well. And
yes, you're like, God, I don't want to tape over this, but I guess I will because you can't not tape.
Oh man, I used to be even sad. I used to make video covers as well for like pay-per-views and Raw special episodes. And God, I'm so sad. But because it's a wrestling podcast, there are people out there can listen to it. They're like, I did that too, and it makes me happy, which is awesome, man. NWA Power. I've had Nick Aldis on before, Sal Rivera, who I know you've faced, and unfortunately he beat you. But I want to hear from you. They've talked about NWA very passionately. What it means to them. I want to hear from you. What was your first impression of the NWA? Also, what does it mean to you if you had to tell someone to watch it that's never watched wrestling before, but you had to persuade them to watch this? How would you pitch it to them?
Okay, so I'll start with what it means to me. Like, I didn't know the NWA. I grew up watching WWE. I didn't ever watch TNA. I didn't watch Impact. I didn't watch New Japan or any of these other promotions. Lucha Underground, never watched it. I just cared about WWE, the Fed. And so they did the first season of NWA tapings. And the place I went to school and trained under Crimson, we got to do the ring crew. So like we supplied the ring, they bought the aprons and they brought the apron, they brought the tarps and everything. But we supplied the boards and frames and everything. So we did all the work. The first time that they were doing it, they were like, does anyone want to come volunteer? We're going to go to Atlanta. You'll get paid like $30 a day, something terrible. And I was like, all right, I have a job. I'm not going to take off vacation and go do this and lose $1,000 or something just to go do this. And there's probably going to be no one there. And I never want to work there. I want to get to the WWE. That was my goal, And so anyway, I skipped it. And they were like, oh man, it was so fun. They told me about how much fun it was. And so they started airing them on YouTube every week. We still do. And I just started watching it. And it was old school. It's completely different from Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
It's in a studio. So for the people who don't know this, this is studio old school wrestling. There's a crowd of less than 100 people. We used to have an upper escalating audience, like in the studio. And now we just have chairs around the ring. But this is studio wrestling. There's a podium right there. There's a commentator named Kyle Davis, and he's gonna be hyping up the next match. We're gonna go to the ring, ring the bell. Velvet Sky from Impact, TNA Impact. Velvet Sky, Joe Galley, Tim Storm. They're our commentators. Sometimes Austin Idol, and it's just.
I love Tim Storm, by the way. Like his feud with Nick Aldis got me into NWA. Like, just his story was brilliant. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just had to.
No, you're fine.
Highlight that.
He's a great human being. I can't think of a single negative thing to say about him.
Yeah.
But anyway, you watch the matches. Each match that we have is completely different from anything you'll see on any other product. WWE, AEW, New Japan. This is all storytelling. This is all old school stuff that will, if there's older generations, people who I watched wrestling in the 80s, I watched the Fabulous Freebirds, I watched the Fantastics or the Rock and Roll Express, they're going to relate to what we're doing because we work the crowd. We're getting the crowd into it. We're not going up and pulling out. We've got ladders. We use ladders, but we're not using them every single week. We're We don't have. I love the guy to death. Sammy Guevara. We don't have a Sammy Guevara. We don't have somebody who's doing death-defying stuff on every pay-per-view. We might have something death-defying come up on our pay-per-views, but we're not gonna jump off the Hell in a Cell.
But you're not going to see it every week. By the
Yeah.
time you do get to the big show, you're like, oh, have we seen it?
Yes, and that's kind of where wrestling is at. It's that it factor of oh my god, that's awesome is leaving because people see it every week. So we're trying to focus on character based. Myself, I'm a Southern redneck from Oklahoma. I grew up doing rodeos, fishing, shooting guns, baling hay in the summertime. I worked at a fast food restaurant. That was who I was as a kid. Now I wrestle in trunks and boots, and I wear a bow tie, and I have a jacket.
I do love the look, by the way. It's so cool.
Thank you. We are characters. We are entertainers. And yes, we're wrestlers, and we're tough. We get punched in the face, and we keep going. And we really do get punched in the face. It happens. My lip is swollen right now. It happens all the time. But yes, it's entertainment, and that's what's different. Is we're not flying 100 miles per hour. We're getting stuff done. And so if you're new and you're like, all right, I'll check this out. Just look into the NWA. There's a 10 pounds of gold series that just it teaches a lot about the history of the NWA. It shows the tournament they had to crown Nick Aldis as the new NWA heavyweight champion. Last year at NWA 73, seeing Trevor Murdoch defeat Nick Aldis after he was the champ for 2 years, something crazy like that.
Long ass time.
It was like over 1,000 days. I want to say.
I'm going to ask him about it on Saturday because I'm going Wales, so I'm going to be seeing him there.
Yeah. So, yeah. Tell him you talk to me. He'll be like, oh, he's the worst.
Oh, don't upload that episode, mate.
Yeah. But Trevor Murdoch defeated him last year in St. Louis for the title. And it was the most heartwarming moment in wrestling ever. Trevor's from St. Louis. That's what wrestling's made of and stuff. And then Rolando beating Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona is the most famous wrestler who's not in WWE or AEW. If you may agree.
No, I agree. What he done with GCW and just in terms of the independent scene as well, and coming on to NWA, he has literally just opened new doors for himself, and he's just so well known. But obviously, your big brother beating him. We will talk about it in a minute. But I agree with you. I do agree.
That is another reason where it's that is something that will entertain people. Even my friends who don't like wrestling, they'll comment, they'll message me dude, this stuff with your big brother in here is hilarious. And they just love it. So even people who aren't wrestling fans love Rolando.
Yeah. I think just as I come to the end of it, I do agree about the NWA. I think one thing I'm attracted to it and I really like about it is the blend of old school and sort of modern wrestling as well that it has. It's not necessarily just, kind of has that 80s approach. It has a modern feel as well. Still got new talent as well, and new talent that I've seen from it that have gone since to AEW and WWE, and new talent that have grown in NWA. And I really like it. And I think Billy Corgan, what he's doing with it it's been brilliant. And I'm really happy. It's an alternative to wrestling sometimes. You just want to switch off WWE and AEW and, Impact sometimes and just want to watch some character development, just promos. That's a lot. I think that's one thing as well. NWA has promos. It's become a little bit of a lost art in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. But I want to ask about your big brother before I come to the end of this episode. Your big brother, Orlando Freeman, as we know, just tell me about him if you can. What was your first impression of him? How was it pitched to you?
So, we'll just go ahead and get real here. Rolando, he came in and they saw that, I had this guy standing next to me who had a very similar look. He's different size. He almost looked like a mini-me. I don't like calling him mini-me, but he did look like one. We had the same hair, just a little bit different. We cleaned up his sides. But, the same beard, he was just 150 pounds lighter than me. And he was, 18 inches shorter or something. So I had a conversation with him. I was like, "Man, how you good? It's good to see you." We just caught up. And I had one of our buddies take a picture. I said, "I haven't seen him in forever. Let's take a picture." So take a picture. And I sent it to Pat Kenny, who's our head of talent relations. Yeah. And I said, "Check this out." And Pat says, "Bring him to production right now." So this kid just walks in. I've been there for 8 seasons of this time, or 7 seasons of this time, whatever it was. He just walks in and just has a conversation with me, says hi, takes a picture, and I get him a job. and then he's only had 2 matches in the company, and both of them been Matt Cardona, and he's whooped his ass both times. So, like, this kid just walked into the golden ticket.
I smell a heel turn.
And that's the thing. He is a heel. I'm a babyface.
Yeah.
Everyone likes me. I'm the good guy, and I can't. I gotta be. My actions have to speak for themselves and be good. He's in their face saying, "I'm bigger and I'm badder and I'll beat your ass and you're a piece of shit." And just he's telling them this, and like anyone else, like if I get in some other guy's face and I'm saying those exact same things and the same body mannerisms, I'm a terrible person. But him, he's this tall. So
only in wrestling as well. That's like get you cheered and booed at the same time. It's just so great, man. I just love the pairing. I mean, if anyone hasn't watched it, it's on YouTube. In the main event as well, where he beats Matt Cardona, and you get to see yourself in it as well. As we are officially at the end of this episode, is there anything you would like to promote, plug, share, or anything you want to say? The platform is yours.
Well, just like I've been saying, watch NWA. We are on Fight TV. There's a monthly subscription service, or there is an annual pass. It's about $50 for a year. You can get all of our pay-per-views. You can watch everything from the beginning of when we brought back NWA Powerrr 2019 all the way up until now. Every week we get new episodes. You can get all that for $50 in a year. Otherwise, just get on YouTube every Friday and Saturday. We've got new episodes of NWA Powerrr, NWA USA coming. This is going to be a good season. We got a lot of exciting things coming. I mean that.
Awesome.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is the Rush Freeman on Instagram. It's also the Freak Freeman on Twitter. I haven't updated that yet, but it's the Rush Freeman on Instagram.
But there's a story behind that one, but no, that's
yeah, that's a whole different thing. So.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Thank you for coming on, man. It's been an absolute blast chatting to you. For everyone that has listened to this episode, there'll be more episodes of What Do You Call It podcast coming out next week as my way this weekend. If you can like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, that would be brilliant. So I can bring on more guests like Rush Freeman. And if you can follow him on social media, I'll put his description. Let me try that again. I'll put his details in the description below, so you can follow him and keep up to date with his career in NWA. But for now, everyone, enjoy the rest of your day, morning, evening. I need to get a better conclusion to this podcast because I always keep bumping this up. But everyone, have a great day. Take care. Hello there. I've got a special announcement for my next guest.
Hi, I'm Sky, and I'm going to be appearing on What Do You Call It podcast.
Yeah.
What do you call a podcast? Why are you guys not listening? Hello?
So Cal knows. She knows the score.
Listen, don't be that guy that misses the podcast. Tune in and make sure you see this gorgeous face and hear that gorgeous voice. George, you're a champ.
What do you call it?